Hello, this is Russell from
Tones of Evil.
and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luke of Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Hey kids, who ordered a big helping of chaotic justice?
Me, I did.
Ah, one of the Lords of Chaos is here, I see. All right.
Always.
Oh, there's a podcast named Lords of Order and Chaos.
We'll leave that to Russell.
Russell and
welcome,
Justin. I know you're going to do Dr. Fate. All right, kids. Yes, welcome back to another episode of Unlimited Justice, your Justice League, your Justice Society podcast. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, like I said, that Lord of Chaos herself. It is.
Well, Papa, what's up, y'all? Ready to get weird?
You ready to get nuts? Let's get nuts. All right, so, yes, from all the Lords of Chaos and Order talk, yes, we are talking Dr. Fate this time, 1 through 4 from 1987, 4-issue miniseries, which...
First of all, what a tease. Rude.
What?
Only 4 issues. Rude.
Well, was it set in... I know there was didn't an ongoing start in the late 80s somewhere, so was this a setup for that?
Maybe it was a pitch to see if it would be viable.
Because I do think I did see on the app. I was trying to remember because I really wasn't reading Dr. Fate then. There is one from '88, so I'm wondering if this was like a setup for an ongoing.
Yeah, probably.
Because
Doctor Strange, oh my God, Dr. Fate is so weird.
Well, that's the point.
I was gonna say Dr. Fate is strange, not like as in Doctor Strange, but obviously.
Yeah. Well, again, I think
I know people in the when I was watching Black Adam, they were like, "Wait a minute, what?" And I'm like, "Well, Dr. Fate came first, so just so we're clear." Hey, and their power sets are actually extremely different, but the visuals that they chose to use, I was kind of like annoyed by it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, people are gonna be like, "Oh, is this Doctor?" Don't you ever?
Yeah,
ever.
I saw the visuals. I'm like, people are going to be like, oh, mirror
to biscuit. That's where all those reshoots and all that CGI budget went. I see.
People are going to be like, mirror dimension, I see.
Exactly. So, yeah. Those, like, I was just like...
Oh, yeah, online I heard people were making comparisons between Hawkman and Dr. Fate. They're like, oh, so we're getting Doctor Strange and Falcon, okay. And it's like, no, don't you dare.
No shade to Falcon, but, I mean... Hawkman, like, had it not been played by Aldous Hodges, they would have never even made the comparison, I think. So, yeah. That's sometimes why I don't really like movie-only fans, because they just be talking out of their ass.
Exactly.
Anywho, yeah. Let's get into it. Next time if we ever wrangle up good old JM, let's ask him about this.
Okay. Definitely. I mean,
I totally forgot he wrote that.
Yeah, he likes the mystical. Mystical stuff. Yeah, Dr. Fate number 1, July 1987. Cycles. Writer okay. I don't know. I don't want to know. All right. Writer. Yeah. Yes. Our good friend of the show, Mr. J, who's joined us many times. Which I'm surprised when people come back for more than one shot. Mr. J.M. DeMatteis.
This is J.M. DeMatteis, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Penciler Keith Giffen. Oh yeah, they're spinning this off of their JLA run, or their Justice League run too. So yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Inker Dave Hunt, colorist Anthony Tollin, letterer Augustin Moss, and editor Mr. Dennis O'Neil himself.
Oh, I see.
Looks like I see.
Hanging out with friends. I see how.
Let me tell you about my best friend. I know it would be like written by Lilith Hellfire, editor Phil Perich. But I mean, come on, yeah, but no, Jam's good. All right, Dr. Fate is embroiled in a fight with the Lord of Chaos known as Typhon. Just as he is ready to defeat him, however, he is suddenly spirited away to the realm of the Lords of Order. The Lords tell Dr. Fate that reality has now entered the fourth age of man, the Kali Yuga.
Wait. We gotta talk about how the Lords of Order are basically as bad as the Guardians of Oa. Like, what is it about all, like, the overseers in DC? They're just so negligent. So flippant. I just can't take it.
I think it's just always just like with all these characters, it's like, oh, they're so old and
Here's the book.
And they're so unattached from anybody. Yeah, they're just like, you know what? Like in this story, they're like, yeah, just let it burn. It'll reincarnate later or something. You know, just.
Which is the only thing that I would give the Flash TV show, how they depict the Speed Force as actually like a caring entity.
Yeah.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that.
Almost like a mother, if you will.
Had to give that actress something to do.
As such, the essence of fate, the disembodied Lord of Order known as Nabu, can no longer continue using Kent Nelson as the host body for his power. Without warning, Nabu is sent back to Earth. In New York, Linda Strauss goes for a walk.
Oh, Linda Strauss, no, as bad as Liz Allen.
Goes for a walk. Okay, we're gonna get in there. All right, goes for a walk in Central Park with her 10-year-old stepson Eric. Eric wanders away and meets the aging Kent Nelson. Nelson beckons the boy to follow him. He brings him to the Tower of Fate in Salem, Massachusetts. The essence of Nabu now represents itself as an oversized mouth in the center of Kent Nelson's stomach. Okay. Opening his mouth, Nabu issues forth a wave of energy that instantly ages Eric Strauss to adulthood. He is now prepared to train Eric as the new reservoir for the power of fate. Eric, now cloaked in the raiment of Dr. Fate, travels to New York to resume his battle with Typhon. Linda watches the battle from the window of her apartment. Somehow she senses Eric's presence inside of Fate. Nabu guides Eric but abandons him at a critical moment. Typhon seemingly consumes Dr. Fate then disappears. Moments later, Dr. Benjamin Stoner of Arkham Asylum...
Relatable.
Another alias you never you let slip through your fingers.
It's too easy. It's too easy.
Should have been like Betsy Stoner or something. But Arkham Asylum finds Eric Strauss cold and naked, shivering in the snow. Eric doesn't know that Stoner is an agent of Typhon, and he has taken to Arkham as another inmate.
Just another inmate.
I love these issues. Anytime they show Arkham, for one of the first things, you just get a panel of the Joker laughing.
Yes.
They're like,
I mean, that's it. That's all. That sums it up, right?
What's our brand?
I mean,
so in case someone isn't aware, they're like, oh, that Arkham Asylum. Okay.
Now, to be fair, they did borrow it from, another place. So, to be fair, just, got to set the mood.
All the feces flinking and everything.
Joker's above that, but okay.
I don't know. Oh, and we get a mention of Professor...
Croc, Clayface, sure. Not Joker.
They don't call him Clayface for nothing. But yes, we get a mention of Professor I, though, but not a lot. Nothing really major with him.
Like, I'm always bummed about, I just feel like Kent doesn't get enough love, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But again, with the nature of Dr. Fate, they're like, we could just give it to someone else.
I know, but he was the best. It's not that he was the best, he was the most responsible and reverent about the position that the helmet gave to him, you know what I mean? Everybody else is just pretty, blasé about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't, looped back around to him, seeing as how, it's magic.
I'm kind of when they rebooted it with that kid, I was just so annoyed. That was so bad.
Yeah, and even before him, I mean, they were doing Hector Hall, and they were
Hector Hall's okay, but that last one that they did in New 52, bleh.
He might still be around. I'm not sure, but I'm just with seeing how the whole thing is magic.
I thought Constantine was his friend. Why hasn't he trying to go to see what the hell happened? Instead of trying to give his girlfriend the helmet, you know?
Hey-oh!
I'm gonna need that as a drop.
I don't know if she'll be like, I need it as a drop, then I'll play it in front of anyone else. She'll be like, oh, where did that come from?
part. You gotta play the part.
How did you piece that together?
I wonder if my wrist is ready for that.
Oh, those are the best when she just sounds all innocent.
Because Charlie probably doesn't listen to anything else. He's like, where did that drop come from? I don't remember that. Lubricated eels are the best.
The best when she sounds all innocent.
Oh boy, we gotta keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it going. All right.
This is a great setup issue, though, I will say.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just picked.
How old was Eric anyway?
I said he was 10, and then he got aged up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, Shazam. Did Shazam get mad? Like, you can't do that.
It was more like big.
Yeah.
All right, so Dr. Fate number 2, August 1987, Asylum.
No such thing.
It's the same team. Well, it's more like mental asylum.
Exactly.
At the Tower of Fate, a weary Kent Nelson contemplates the events that have led up to this moment in his life. From his childhood and the absence of his mother to his father's archaeological missions in which they came across Naboo, and Kent's life was changed.
It's always, white people messing around with stuff they ain't got no business messing around with.
Yeah, again, it's 2022. Don't be digging up any ancient crap, kids.
And stop, I always love to say, well, just don't eat a mummy. Because, that's
Hey-o!
why we don't have as many hell. But no, that's seriously why we don't have mummies, is because they would eat them. So, yeah. The Victorian era was weird, bro.
How about the Egyptians? Didn't they put, mummified cats in with them, too?
Well, yeah, that's fine. They didn't eat them like uncivilized people.
Zombie cats! I'm surprised, man. I'm surprised they didn't start eating the cats first. Heathens. All right, only now, after so many years, Kent deduces that the death of his father was perhaps arranged by Naboo in order to get him to become Dr. Fate. Oh.
He's putting the pieces together.
It only took him 50 years.
It's like, what the Amanda Waller's going on here?
However, and despite the past events, there is just one pain he cannot alleviate: the death of his beloved wife, Inza. She was the only person who realized Kent's sacrifice and accepted him, willingly giving herself to something she didn't fully understand, like every man in Lilith Hellfire's life. Unfortunately, with the coming of the Kali Yuga, the power that prevented Kent and Inza from aging was gone, and their accelerated decay was too much for Inza's mind. She was not able to stand the process and eventually died, leaving Kent alone and old. Kent is filled with sorrow, but before he could dwell too much on it, Naboo speaks to him in the form of the grotesque mouth in Kent's stomach.
I see they left that out.
And assures him that his death is close. At that moment in Arkham Asylum, Dr. Stoner talks to a disturbed Eric Strauss and reveals himself as a follower of the Lord of Chaos called Typhon. The two of them know that Eric has been chosen by Naboo to become the next Dr. Fate, and they interrogate him about the location of the Helmet of Fate and the Amulet of Anubis, two of the items that provide power to Dr. Fate. However...
You mean Anubis?
Or Anubis.
Somebody's not a Stargate fan, that's fine.
Yeah, it's early on a Saturday morning, so... Crusher Krell! However, Eric's mind is unwell and he can't provide them the answers they require. Meanwhile, Linda Strauss awakens in her New York apartment, screaming for Eric. Her missing stepson... What is this? A story off Lilith Hellfire's hard drive?
Oh, no. No.
Linda realizes that she has an unhealthy obsession with the kid and starts a quest to locate him. Although she has no clue where to start looking, as she drives out of New York towards Massachusetts... From Boston. She realizes that she is in love with Eric, and although the idea of being romantically being romantically attracted to a kid is bizarre, that's an understatement.
Your steps? Oh, boy.
That's what I'm saying. If he was of age...
we might have to put good old JM on trial for this one.
Yeah. I was going to say, if that kid was of age, this would be on your hard drive.
Exactly.
Linda somehow knows that Eric is not just a boy. Ooh. Yeah, sure.
Okay, she's got a case of the Hal Jordans, kids.
I'm sorry, what the F was wrong with DC in the 80s?
And what's crazy is oh my god, they censored so much stuff, but so much other stuff got through, like covers and stuff. They were really hardcore about really shooting down the artist's visions and stuff. But yet this gets through, so.
So
random.
I mean, I don't mean to demean a friend of the show, but it's like, no, it's like I think it's a pivotal plot point. Yeah.
It's just weird.
It is weird. But no, I'm just saying, has DC always
It's kind of like how when, freaking Billy was dating Stargirl, and they were like, you're a grown-ass man, and she's a 6-year-old girl, what's going on here? But he's like, but no, we're all little boys inside. He's like, no, but really.
Yeah.
I know, what are those things? So
at least he was a boy. He just had the body of a grown man sometimes.
But then, on the same thing, think about like something like Fifth Element, like, the born sexy yesterday trope. That's what I take it as, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Has DC had problems for decades so far?
Yeah. Yeah. But at least Walter Hamada's gone. Anyway.
Yeah.
Now Ray Fisher can come back, and I'm kind of excited.
It's just creepy because I'm like, Luke is 9. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be throwing fists.
Yeah, I'm like, what grown woman is like, oh yeah, I'm in love with him? Like, whoa, really? Because at first I was like, wait a minute, okay, she loves him as like a mother. I was like, whoa, wait, what?
Motherly love.
No. That night,
or maybe she was just trying to keep the money in the family. She didn't want to get kicked to the curb.
I know.
The whole backstory is that Eric's dad was older than her, super wealthy. Which I think Dr. Fate has a thing for wealthy people. Maybe is Naboo a gold digger? I feel like maybe Naboo's a gold digger, but yeah. So I don't know. Got all kinds of ways you can take it.
Got to plate that helmet in gold every couple of years. So far.
Exactly. So that's just a little odd blip. Let's move on. Let's not dwell on it.
Yeah, let's get to something more normal. That night in Arkham,
normal for DC.
Yes. Dr. Stoner this sounds like you. Dr. Stoner starts a ritual under the instruction of Typhon. Stoner murders a nurse and desecrates. And then
if the nurse said that the Hulk could beat Superman, okay? Only in that case.
Murders a nurse and desecrates her body. So are we talking necrophilia here? Is that what we were talking about?
Quite possibly.
Okay. I was like, whoa.
Necrophilia is actually more common than most people actually know. And it usually starts with being a sombophiliac or whatever, which is people that are asleep, or it's people that are cold, stuff like that. Just saying, it's more common than you think. It's almost as common as a foot fetish, but that's none of my business.
Yeah, but I swear you only hear about it when it's like, oh yeah, that lonely woman in the morgue, Well, Hellfire's like, that's at least that way they shut up.
The intelligence is about the same. So.
Oh, well, the guys you pick, Ed.
Give you a himbo any day. Shut up and just lay there.
So yeah, kills the nurse, desecrates her body, which allows the Lord of Chaos to draw arcane powers that start to expand across the asylum, killing unsuspecting people. Whose life
gonna kill the Joker though.
Nope. Whose life essence become part of the dark magic unleashed by Typhon. Even Typhon's like, keep the Joker out of it.
He'll screw it all up.
These ghostly apparitions slowly approach Eric Strauss's cell, but before they reach the man, Kent Nelson contacts him telepathically, trying to help him surrender his will to Naboo. However, the Lord of Orders senses chaos approaching and takes over Eric's body immediately before Typhon's power reaches him. Dr. Fate manifests himself inside Arkham.
Inside Arkham, okay.
Yes, inside Arkham. Vanishing Typhon's monstrous magic before confronting Dr. Stoner. Unfortunately, Stoner has allowed Typhon to merge with him, which allows the Lord of Chaos to attack Dr. Fate by surprise. Fate's powers are diminished.
You didn't see that coming?
I guess not. Fate's powers are diminished as Eric's consciousness inside him prevent Naboo taking full control of the human host. Eric's mind is lost, afraid, and the only person he calls for is Linda, who's guided by Eric's consciousness, has been guided all the way to the Tower of Fate. Inside Arkham, Typhon defeats Naboo, forcing him to retreat back to Kent Nelson's body, leaving Eric, the helmet, and the amulet behind. Typhon instructs Stoner to pick up the helmet and put it on, transforming Stoner into a dark version of Dr. Fate, the most powerful agent of chaos. Back at the Tower of Fate, Kent reproaches Naboo's methods for taking control of a human host. He blames the Lord of Order for their defeat, for his current state and for the damage caused to Eric Strauss, coming to the conclusion that Nabu is in fact evil. Suddenly, the Godhead appears as a manifestation of the Lords of Order and reveals that Nabu is not truly evil, but because he has remained on Earth for too long, he has become human in his actions and decisions.
Burn on you! Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your grandma.
The Godhead, which Lilith Flower is always after, tries to take Nabu away from Earth, but Nabu refuses and the Godhead leaves. At that moment, Linda Strauss enters the Tower of Fate and finds Kent Nelson exhausted and confused about her presence. She explains that even she doesn't know how to get there, but all she knows is that he can help her find Eric. In Arkham, Eric has been released and he walks away from the madhouse, but his mind is clear now, and thanks to a newfound determination, he knows what he needs to do in order to overcome chaos. Isn't that what everyone feels like when they get out of the asylum?
Shout out to the Floronic Man cameo.
I know. We just get like random cameos.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're in Arkham.
Yeah.
Honestly, why don't we have an Arkham show?
I don't know.
I feel like we could have an Arkham show.
I mean,
I think Gotham set that up pretty well. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of like doing all this other garbage,
Gotham.
like Gotham Knights.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
do an Arkham show. Let's do it.
Gotham Knights. That's gonna last. Okay.
You know, it's the CW. They need a DC property to keep them afloat. It'll probably get 3 seasons.
I don't know, man. If no one shows up in a costume, you don't have any other show to cross over with. I don't know.
I think some people might like the idea of not being in a connected universe because it's just become so much lately. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't have any hope for it, but anything's possible. I honestly, before I saw the pilot of Green Arrow, I was just like, who's gonna watch this? And then he took his shirt off, and I was like, oh, I know who's gonna watch this. Me.
Oh my. Yeah, I thought they were just going to do a straight up vigilante show, and then, but by the end of season 2, they're like, look, it's Barry Allen. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go.
Here comes the extended universe, baby.
Here comes superpowers. Here we go.
Yeah. Anywho.
Hugh and Justin were just like, I'm watching this show.
My favorite biscuit.
Shout out to the Salmon Ladder that held the season 1 and 2 together.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. All right, let's get this going. Dr. Fate, number 3, September 1987. Strangers.
Stranger danger, if you will.
Strangers. Sitting on both hands? All right. He was sitting on 2 hands?
I wonder if my wrist is ready for that. You really should, even it out. You don't want one bicep to be bigger than the other one.
Ew!
Just life pro tips. Like I notice things like that, so...
Especially when you're holding something.
Interesting.
Especially when you're holding something with a jet engine attached, right, Lilith Hellfire?
It's fueled by alien technology. Don't worry about it.
Oh, please! It's exactly like you. It's fueled by Red Bull and anger. Come on.
Red Bull, please sponsor me.
Transformed into a dark version of Dr. Fate, Dr. Benjamin Stoner wears the helmet of fate and the amulet of Anubis, taken from Nabu in order to upset the order on Earth. Following the instructions of Typhon, the Lord of Chaos.
Here they come! The Justice League!
The Justice League International notices the strange events happening around the globe, and they are summoned to their base of operations by the Phantom Stranger.
Oh, you know it's bad when Phantom Stranger calls you. You know it's bad.
I would have
preferred Dead Man, but that's a whole nother series.
Yeah.
He shows up for Dr. Fate.
But again, usually if you're calling somebody on this level of magnitude, it's either the Phantom Stranger or the Spectre. So
yeah, well, we'll get there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, at the Tower of Fate, Linda Strauss demands that Kent Nelson and Nabu release their hold over Eric Strauss, who is still missing after their defeat at the hands of Typhon. Nelson explains that he is innocent and that everything is part of Nabu's plan. Finally, Nelson understands that the death of his father was also part of Nabu's plan to take control of him and use his body as the host for Dr. Fate. The realization angers Nelson, who is finally able to grieve for the loss of his father.
I mean, it's kind of his dad's fault for being an archaeologist. Leave buried things buried. I'm just saying.
I know. That's the question. I saw it online the one time. They're like, so how many years has to pass before grave robbing becomes archaeology?
Exactly. And I was like, can we dig up Queen Elizabeth?
Oh!
And sell it to museums? I mean, it's only fair, right?
Prince Charles is like, leave her there. I ain't taking no chances. I've been waiting my time. Nelson demands to talk to Nabu and tells him to leave his body and allow him to die, to be rejoined with his loved ones in the afterlife. Sounds like a little Hellfire date. They're like, leave my body and let me die. But Nabu refuses. As they argue, Eric Strauss enters the tower and reveals himself as capable of understanding the powers of fate, as well as his own potential abilities. When Eric and Linda are reunited, Nelson finally understands something that remains unknown to Nabu, but decides to keep the secret until a later moment.
Love will keep us together.
Oh.
That's why he let him keep his wife. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think that was kind of like a forced thing for Linda, unfortunately.
I guess, but couldn't her step?
It's just like it was like a very sudden onset thing of emotion for Eric. So I think it was kind of Nabu's fault. I'm just saying.
Probably. I don't know. Would it have been a little better if we had made the stepson like 18 or something?
Of course, that would have made it better. But also, like, I really do feel like they were trying to still, I don't know, like give little kids hope. Like, you don't just have to be a sidekick.
Well, and two, it's like these adults are getting. Nabu's like, these adults are getting hard to manipulate. Let me try a kid. Let me try a child. Yeah.
He's like, it worked for the Wizards, right? For a little bit.
I know, but it's so weird, especially when Linda's like, "Oh, he's so mature for a 10-year-old. It's like he's an old soul in a young body,
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I feel like she was being manipulated, so I'll let it slide this one time.
Yeah,
and we don't dwell on it further down the line anyway. So it's just like this specific miniseries, so it's not that bad.
When Eric and Linda reunite, Nelson finally understands that something remains unknown to Nabu, but decides to keep the secret till later moment. Nabu, on the other hand, is ready to take Eric and use him as his new host, but Eric's condition is that Linda goes with them. Nabu refuses, but since Eric and Ken are determined to keep the woman at their side, Nabu has no choice but to let her stay. Elsewhere, Dr. Stoner continues his path of chaos and destruction when he is suddenly challenged by the Justice League International and the Phantom Stranger.
This fight scene's pretty awesome, actually.
Well, I'm sure it's somebody's favorite. However, the heroes are no match for Stoner, who holds the power of fate and is aided by Typhon. One by one, the members of the Justice League are apparently eliminated, including Batman, my favorite character.
The plot twist.
Just blasted. It looks like he's nothing but legs. But the Phantom Stranger reveals to them that Typhon is not killing them, but sending them back to their headquarters. So what, he sent Batman back without his legs?
Does he have knees?
Trapped in a World, Howard Duck Podcast, proud member of the collective. Take
a shot.
Wow. Back to their headquarters while making Stoner believe he is killing them. When all members of the League have been vanished, Stoner turns his attention to the Phantom Stranger, who manages to plant a seed of doubt in his mind. Stoner starts feeling his humanity return thanks to the words of love and compassion spoken by the Phantom Stranger.
Wouldn't work on me, is all I'm saying.
No. Break this mystical hold on the Hellfire. Here's some Funkos for you. Ah, cool!
Ooh, Funkos! Wait, is that a Dr. Doom Full Metal? Nice!
I can just hear the Cartman voice. Oh, kid!
Screw you guys. That's good on.
Batman, I wanna.
Man, where's my cheesy poofs?
I want a Dr. Doom Funko. Salty and petty. However, Typhon's hold over him is stronger, and the Lord of Chaos uses Stoner to transport him and the Phantom to Egypt, where Stoner's power is increased and the Phantom Stranger is killed by the Agent of Chaos. I'm sure that'll hold.
In a miniseries, yeah, okay.
Phantom Stranger, yeah. Thinking himself unbeatable, Stoner decides, as all stoners do.
That's a really great idea, man. I wrote it down. Let me read it in the morning. It's just gibberish.
A shark with a freaking laser beam on its head.
How about new?
Yeah, he descends to the
pyramids. Sonar descends to one of the pyramids of Egypt that's instructed by Typhon. However, as he reaches the ground, Eric Strauss talks to him, confident enough to face evil directly, knowing that he is beyond life and death, beyond even mortality, a confidence born of knowing himself the master of fates.
Masters of the universe.
And again, man, and once again, he's a young man. You know, that first love, man, it makes you feel invincible. You know,
the hand of fate. You say?
Oh,
this cover is trippy. I was like, who did this? Grant Morris. It's a great cover, but it's trippy.
Oh yeah, the Justice League getting eaten. All right. So, any other thoughts, or should we get to the last one?
Let's get to the last one. I'm just going to say they don't make them like this.
Oh, no.
Like 4 stories, and it's complete, and it feels... You can revisit it if you want to, but you're kind of satisfied with the ending.
Hey-o!
They can't even do that with 12 issues most times nowadays in modern comics.
No, because the formula is just like drag it out so we can reprint it in a trade or something, you know.
Even the most maxi series nowadays, which are very far and few between, they just don't feel very satisfying. Hey-o.
No, because again, I think the pacing's off because they're all worried about reprinting stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Fate number 4, October 1987. Incarnations. Eric Strauss confronts Anti-Fate in Egypt in order to stop him and prevent chaos from spreading across the world. And
we couldn't come up with a better name.
I don't think
he couldn't just be Mr. Fate instead of Dr. Fate.
I don't know. Did they even call him that in the story, though? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's just for the synopsis.
Who is it, an anti-monitor? Like, what is this, the anti-life equation? Like, anytime you put anti in DC, I'm just like, oh no, please not that. Anything but that. Psycho Pirate and Pariah are going to show up or something. Traumatized. I just
do everything opposite to what I usually do.
Fate. Yeah, that's what they should have called him.
George Costanza. So your savior would be the Antichrist.
Ooh. Is he black? Does he say hello when he leaves?
No.
Oh, then that doesn't really sound very opposite.
I love a late, I know. However, Eric is not powerful enough and is harmed by Anti-Fate's attacks. While Kent, Nelson, and Linda watch from the sidelines, Nabu, still sharing a body with Nelson, tries to protect Eric from the attack, but he grows weaker. It is then that Kent deduces the rightful solution when he finally understands that Linda has come with them in their journey to become one with Eric.
Phrasing?
Yeah. Much like Inza was supposed to be with him. However, Nabu fights to prevent that, as it would mean the loss of control over the human host that he uses to become Dr. Fate. Although Nabu prevents Linda from reaching Eric, Kent calls him out and tells Nabu that because he prevented the rightful thing from happening, Inza died and Kent lost his powers. Dr. Fate is supposed to exist as a result of the merging of 2 entities with strong mystical connection.
Relatable.
And Lil tries to create that magic every Saturday night, kids.
Sometimes on Fridays.
Why she wasn't home last night. Boom! Because Dr. Fate is... But Nabu prevented that from happening in order to remain in control of the powers of fate. Eric weakens with every passing second until he has barely a wisp of energy at the hands of Anti-Fate, and Nabu realizes his error. He releases Linda and allows her spirit to merge with Eric's, creating a massive mystical explosion. Isn't that the way it always happens? Is that how it always happens? Okay, Michael Scott. Which vanquishes Anti-Fate, and in his place, Dr. Fate regains control of the Helmet of Fate. Well, that's what happens after the explosion. Hey, well, now
you can go have a cookie and a nap.
I think it so clearly now. And the amulet of Anubis to stand strong against Typhon, the Lords of Chaos. The powers of Dr. Fate surpass those of Typhon, and the evil one is forced to retreat, leaving the body of Benjamin Stoner behind, but warns Fate that he has just won a single battle in a war that is already lost. I'll be back.
Shut up, Cobra Commander.
That is 80s villain. I was going to say Cobra Commander, Skeletor.
Yeah.
Once the Lord of Chaos is defeated, everyone returns to the Tower of Fate. But Nelson has had enough. Eric and Linda try to talk to him and convince him to stay and help them in their new quest as Dr. Fate, but Nelson refuses. He tells them that all they need to know is already inside them. And with one final request, he asks Nabu to let his body die.
No.
Eric, well, there's a loophole there. Eric, Linda, and Nabu bury Kent's body outside of the tower, but as they contemplate the unfair ending of Kent Nelson, Nabu is snatched from Earth to the dimension where the Lords of Order exist. They have decided that Nabu is not fit to remain on Earth anymore, as he has lost the true purpose of serving order and just order. However, Kent's sacrifice has allowed Nabu to see the world differently, and he now understands that there is more to life than order and chaos. Nabu refuses to join the Lords of Order, instead choosing to fight the forces of chaos on Earth alongside Dr. Fate, even if it's a lost cause. The Lords of Order understand, and as they send Nabu back to Earth, they officially exile him from their realm, never to return. Nabu is sent hurtling towards Earth, and upon his arrival, he destroys the Tower of Fate and all its surroundings, including Nelson's tomb.
So freaking rude. I was devastated.
I know.
I'm just going to say. I was absolutely shocked and devastated.
Which
is what a good writer should do.
Yes, exactly. You should feel something. Back in New York City, Eric and Linda try to understand all that has happened, and although Linda wants to experience her love for Eric,
anyway.
He knows there is still much for him to learn.
And turn 18. At least.
Yes.
21, 25, something.
Oh, it's alright. He had an adult body. That's fine. Okay. After all, his mind and body... Oh, wait. Here we go. After all, his mind and body went through an aging process to transform him into an adult, and things are still very strange to him. This is on your hard drive. At that moment, someone enters their apartment. No, I know.
But I don't even like the movie Big, honestly. It's always giving me the creeps.
Yeah, it's weird. At that moment, someone enters their apartment, and they are both shocked to see it's Kent Nelson. The man, however, reveals himself to be as Nabu controlling the body of Kent, and he explains, talk about necrophilia, and he explains that he has returned to guide them and help them on their mission as Dr. Fate. Eric and Linda accept his offer, but Nabu insists on simply being called Kent.
Oh, that's extra creepy, honestly.
Yes, this is the final appearance of Kent Nelson as a living being. Nabu takes physical control of his body in this issue. Eric and Linda Strauss appear next in Booster Gold 22.
So random.
I know.
So freaking random.
I get it. It's like we're doing whatever we can with these Justice League International members.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Benjamin Stoner appears next in Dr. Fate number 18. So yeah, that's going to be an
You and Justin should totally do a Booster Gold limited podcast series.
Really? Why?
I don't know. I think you guys would enjoy it. I think it would be hilarious. I think the drops would be insane because Booster Gold is such a freaking mess.
Do that 80s series. Do that.
Yes, it's just absolute one freaking catastrophe after another.
I mean, we could always do that on Patreon or something.
Yeah, but no, I will forever be bitter that they never picked. You remember that Smallville Booster Gold episode? That was supposed to be a backdoor pilot, Quiet as It's Kept.
Oh, really?
People loved it, but they didn't go through with it because they actually didn't like the actor. They liked the idea of Booster Gold, but they didn't really like the actor.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but I don't know if he was
wasn't
for gold. Yeah.
It wasn't like Justin Hartley, who they wanted him to be Aquaman. When that thing didn't pan out, they were like, hey, you can be Green Arrow. So, he didn't have that charisma that, Justin Hartley had, unfortunately. But I will forever be bitter because, I have to find that script somewhere because it's really... I think a Booster Gold TV show would have been cool. It could have been very much Legends-esque. But
yeah. Oh, speaking of, have you been watching the new Quantum Leap? Did you see Justin Hartley showed up on an episode?
Yes, of course. I literally get an alert on my phone.
Justin Hartley.
Well, after his other shows, was it the last season or is this the last season? Either way.
Yeah, I don't watch it, but yeah, it was either.
It's good. The first two seasons were absolutely amazing.
It's either done. Yeah, it's either done or it's on the last season, I think so.
Plus Mandy Moore, we love a '90s, a late '90s pop star.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, Justin Hartley alert.
Yes, yeah, and for those curious, yes, Justin Hartley can get it.
Nice! No, I'll have to ask my other hot man aficionado.
My favorite biscuit.
So I'm gonna give this a solid B+, just because like I was very attached to Kent Nelson. Like I think Dr. Fate is like out of all the mystical books one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Right up there with Spectre. And like it's just something about Kent and his wife, and like he had just been. It's basically the story of Job, and it's just like that's the ending for him. Even his tomb gets destroyed, and some guy's walking around in his meat suit. Oh,
yeah,
devastation.
Yeah, I think
But no, it is a solid 4-issue miniseries, and it's a great way to set up the new Dr. Fate, and it still has like reverence for the old Dr. Fate.
Yes,
which like a lot of modern comics don't do when it's a legacy character.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I gotta agree with you on the B. I mean, it's good.
Plus the creepy stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's you know, J.M.D. Mateus is a solid writer, but just some of the little stuff, you know, like he's 10, but he's so mature. It's like, oh boy. I was wondering where we were going there. But yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, yeah, I mean, JM's always a solid storyteller, so.
Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you should go buy this Funko Pop. But they also have a full metal metallic variant. That's the one you want.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's the one I'm looking for. I have this one currently, but I'm looking for the full metal metallic variant.
Yeah. And again, if you're
the Black Adam Funkos are so good, guys. Get the Galactic, get the Cruiser with Hawkman if you can find it. I think it's a Walmart exclusive, so yeah.
So you need to be on camera more so you can be like, look at my latest acquisition.
I know. I'm just, I'm not feeling it. Don't feel good.
Okay.
I was hungover yesterday and I'm hungover today. And I'll be hungover on Monday because it's Halloween.
I was going to say, which is different than...
I'm actually usually not hungover. I stopped drinking and then I started, and I don't think I'm going to drink anymore.
She wasn't.
This is like one of my first few hangovers ever. Seriously.
She wasn't feeling any of that alcohol. Then she's like, I gotta stop, lower that tolerance.
And now I did lower my tolerance because I have a hangover. So I'm just like, either I have to drink all the time or drink not at all. So. She's
like, I will let myself feel as the humans feel.
Exactly.
Okay, Nabu.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that this is a really good starting point for people, for Dr. Fate. But like, if you can find some of his original stuff, I find that the older Dr. Fate stuff is so phenomenal. I like it a lot. I like the DC Magic stuff way more than the Marvel stuff. The Marvel stuff's too much of a science approach.
Yeah.
This is just like fantastical. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And again, if you're a fan of J.M.D. Mateus, I don't know if his Kickstarter's still going, even though he like crushed his goals. But yeah, it's like you know,
yeah, duh.
Yeah, get on board. Yeah, you could pick up.
That's insane.
Well, again, he's a well-known name, so of course he was gonna, you know.
Just that he's just like launched everything. Like, I was just whoa. That's a lot.
Well, I know he said he was working on some of those at least since the pandemic, if not before. It started, if not before. So, and like, you know, like he even said, he's like, you know, it's a lot easier when someone else is taking care of, like, you know, the social media or like the business end of it. It's just, you know, because those guys are just like spellbound. They're just like, go create. We'll handle the rest of it. So he has like a team behind him.
So on that note, kids, what's our homework?
All right. That's right.
As we wind down to...
That's right, kids. Yeah, because we're going to be, yes, the show's just going to the end of the year because this will be Salty and Petty's time slot in 2023. So if you like the dick jokes, those will remain.
I'm pretty sure everybody just comes for the dick jokes for Sidekicks feed. I'm pretty sure.
You know, Ray, if you're watching this, you know you're just here to hear Lil say the helmet of Nabu. So. Oh, that's right. We're going to start a 3 episode run on some JLA issues. Next time we're going to cover JLA 10 through 15, Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
Next 3 episodes, yeah, we're going to be doing JLA by Grant Morrison. So
get your ayahuasca ready, kids. We're going on a trip.
Yes. JLA 10 through 15 in 2 weeks. JLA 28 through 31. Oh, what is that? Is that Crisis Times 5? I believe if the just JLA, JSA, you know, the JSA shows up.
Yeah.
And then JLA 36 through 41, I believe Grant Morrison's last arc, World War III. So,
We're me.
But yeah, that Rock of Ages next week is good. So good, kids, you'll forget that Electric Superman's in it. So
I don't know about that, but
I know, but it's not
it's not egregious.
No. All right, I almost threw one of those in for our Halloween episode last night, Capes and Lunatics episode 285, because and then
Phil's feet would have been cut. He was like, "What the f?"
I know. The internet would have went. Ugh. Yeah, because Lois and Clark in one go to a costume party dressed as Batman and Robin.
It's a little too on the nose, but
Clark is dressed as Batman. All right, so kids. Send us your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find Unlimited Justice on Facebook, on Twitter. Find links to all the various social medias for all the shows we're doing and upcoming announcements about new shows like Salty and Petty and another secret project. So keep your eyes on all of our social media. The YouTube channel. Again, you can watch all of our all our episodes in full videos. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of any of it.
Smash it! I'm just gonna ruin it. I'm gonna spoil it. The project that he's working on is called "Keep the Pim Hand Strong." It's a Hank Pym podcast.
Okay, Eve Heaven Water. That almost maybe we can fit that in somewhere for April Fools this year. We were gonna do it last year, maybe.
Yes. Our earthly counterpart shall return.
I know Justin will be down for that. Tell Justin, be like, come over with the Earth 3 counterpart. Oh my God. Oh yes. All right, Justin, do your homework. All right, kids. So YouTube channel, please subscribe. The Patreon, most importantly, because once again, this is our passion project, paying for this ourselves. So every little bit helps, but $3 to $5 gets you early access, including the monthly Chichester chats, which we're about to do in a few minutes.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And this year, we're about to wrap up superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time. So even after we're done, subscribe to our Patreon. You can watch the whole season of it, and then whatever we have coming in 2023, which you can vote for if you're a patron. So membership has its privileges. All right, and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch, and our Cash App link is right in the show notes. You can't miss it. Lilith Hellfire says, and Rob Southgate say, make it rain.
Make it rain.
So find everything at
Help us escape the capitalistic hellscape, even just a little.
Hell, just pay, just enough to help us pay to put this thing up. All right, at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. All right, Lilith Hellfire, Lord of Chaos, where can people get a hold of you?
Well, if you nerds want to hang out with me on the interwebs, I am going to try to be a better social media person in 2023, so stay tuned. That's at Lilith Hellfire on Twitter, and of course, at Lilith Hellfire 69 on TikTok, where I make all of the comments and maybe some content. I don't know. Come check it out. Give us a follow. Yeah? Okay.
Either do the 6 or do the 9. Put it here.
Or hell,
do
a solid 4.
On your alligator back, bro?
What?
Hell, do a solid 4. Modern Comics could never.
Oh,
that's why they started doing 5, I think. I feel like.
Yeah, probably.
Come. Somebody's muffin's getting buttered. That ain't my business.
All right.
Well, in the case of Eric Strauss, that might be all of our business.
Hey.
We might have to have an intervention with Linda.
Might be law enforcement's business, yes. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us. Again, next week, Grant Morrison, JLA 10 through 15. So, like I said, Electric Superman, Wonder Woman's dead for whatever time that is.
Again.
It's gonna get nuts, kids. The Injustice Society, and I'm not talking about Lilith Hellfire. Alright, come back next week. Get yourself some justice!
Unlimited justice. Outrageous.
But make sure it's of age. Good night.
Hi, I'm one of the High Priests of Khonshu Ray, and I have the sacred privilege of providing you, the loony listener, with a podcast honouring Marvel's very own Moon Knight. So join me and a host of others at Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or support the show by becoming a Patreon member. Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. It's time to get your conchu on.